Is there anything more damning than a head coach publicly validating his veteran center's scathing indictment that his team is weak? Let me paint you a picture of organizational dysfunction so profound, so utterly transparent, that it borders on tragic comedy. This isn't just another losing streak story. This is about a franchise staring into the abyss of mediocrity and finally, having someone brave enough to say what everyone's been thinking: the Chicago Bulls are soft. And here's the kicker that should send shockwaves through the United Center. Billy Donovan, the man paid millions to lead the squad, didn't defend his players. He didn't offer corporate platitudes or coach-speak deflections. He looked into the cameras and essentially said, "Yep, Vuce is absolutely right. We're mentally weak, and I've been feeling it too." The weekend explosion that changed everything. Picture this: another frustrating loss. Another night of unfulfilled potential. Another game where the Bulls looked like they'd rather be literally anywhere else. And Nikola Vucevic, the 33-year-old three-time All-Star who's seen it all, done it all, and frankly deserves better, reached his breaking point. Vucevic didn't mince words. He didn't hide behind diplomatic language. He called his teammates weak. He questioned their accountability. He challenged their competitive fire. This wasn't a frustrated outburst from some hothead rookie. This was a calculated, deliberate statement from a consummate professional who'd clearly had enough. And on Monday, sidelined with knee soreness that probably felt like a blessing compared to watching this team's inconsistency, Vucevic's words continued reverberating through the organization. Donovan's stunning validation. Everything he said was correct. Here's where this story transcends typical NBA drama and enters genuinely fascinating territory. When reporters approached Billy Donovan expecting the standard "we're all in this together" response, they got something completely different, something almost unprecedented in its candor. "I have a great relationship with Vuce, and Vuce is a very intelligent player," Donovan began, setting up what everyone assumed would be a diplomatic pivot. Instead, he doubled down. Everything he said was correct. "I felt it too." Stop and absorb that for a moment. Your head coach, the leader, the motivator, the supposed protector of team culture, just publicly agreed that his squad lacks mental toughness. That's not throwing players under the bus. That's driving the bus directly at them with full headlights blazing. But Donovan didn't stop there. He peeled back the curtain on Chicago's fundamental problem. A catastrophic maturity gap that's poisoning everything they're trying to build. "There's a huge difference," Donovan explained with brutal honesty. "Vuce has 3 kids. There are guys on this team who are basically college freshmen. Translation: we've got battle-tested veterans trying to instill championship habits while surrounded by players who still think like they're at a campus party. That's not a roster. That's a generational clash waiting to implode every fourth quarter." The illusion of progress. Winning while losing. Here's where Donovan's analysis becomes genuinely brilliant, revealing why he's one of the league's more cerebral coaches, even if his team refuses to listen. He identified the most insidious trap in professional sports: the false positive. "You can win games in this league and be heading in the wrong direction," Donovan stated, "and you can lose games and feel really good, like, okay, we're starting to do things the right way, we just didn't get the result we needed." This is coaching philosophy gold. The Bulls started the season reasonably well, stringing together some victories that had fans cautiously optimistic. But Donovan and Vucevic saw through the mirage. They recognized that Chicago was winning despite bad habits, not because of good ones. They were banking victories they hadn't truly earned through sustainable basketball. And when those bad habits inevitably caught up, the losses piled up, and suddenly nobody knew which version of the Bulls would show up night to night. That was Vuce's point. "This isn't sustainable," Donovan emphasized. "The accountability crisis. When veterans speak, will anyone listen?" Second-year forward Mattis Buzelis offered a glimmer of hope, acknowledging that Vucevic had every right to be upset and that the team needed to respond. But here's the million-dollar question that will define Chicago's season. Will they actually change, or is this just another emotional moment that fades by Thursday's practice? The Bulls have shown flashes, tantalizing glimpses of what they could be when locked in and competitive, But flashes don't win championships. Flashes don't even secure playoff berths. Consistency does. Mental toughness does. The ability to maintain championship habits when you're tired, frustrated, or facing adversity, that's what separates contenders from pretenders. Right now, Chicago is firmly in pretender territory, and everyone in that organization knows it. The maturity divide. Veterans versus college mentality. Donovan's comparison deserves deeper examination because it exposes the fundamental challenge facing modern NBA franchises. Vucevic has 3 children. He's been in the league over a decade. He understands that professional basketball isn't about talent alone, it's about preparation, sacrifice, mental resilience, and doing the unsexy work when cameras aren't rolling. Meanwhile, portions of this Bulls roster are operating with what Donovan diplomatically called a college freshman mentality. They're talented, sure. They're athletic, absolutely. But do they understand what it takes to grind through an 82-game season? Do they comprehend that effort isn't negotiable? That accountability isn't optional? The evidence suggests, not yet. The crossroads. Turning point, or just another empty moment. This is where the rubber meets the road, folks. The Bulls now face a defining choice that will determine whether this season becomes a redemption story or another wasted year of mediocrity. Will Vucevic's public call-out, validated by his own head coach, serve as the wake-up call that finally jolts this team into sustained competitiveness? Or will it become just another forgotten moment, buried under the next 3-game losing streak? History suggests skepticism is warranted. How many times have we seen teams have come to Jesus meetings, emotional confrontations, or veteran speeches, only to revert to the same patterns within weeks? Talk is cheap in the NBA. Results are the only currency that matters. But there's something different about this moment. When your franchise center and your head coach are singing the same song, a brutally honest song about weakness and unsustainability, it creates organizational alignment that's rare and potentially powerful. The question isn't whether the Bulls can change. The talent exists. The blueprint is clear. The question is whether they will change, whether the younger players will humble themselves enough to truly listen to Vucevic's experience, whether the veterans will maintain this accountability standard even when it's uncomfortable, whether Donovan can translate these honest conversations into tangible on-court improvements. The verdict: truth hurts, but denial kills. Give Nikola Vucevic credit for this. He cared enough to risk being unpopular. He valued winning over being liked. And in an era where many players hide behind social media platitudes and empty positivity, his willingness to publicly challenge his teammates demonstrates genuine leadership. Give Billy Donovan credit, too. He refused to sugarcoat reality. He could have deflected, protected his players' feelings, or offered meaningless coach speak. Instead, he validated the criticism and made it clear that Chicago's problems are real, acknowledged, and unacceptable. Now comes the hard part, actually fixing it. The Bulls don't need more talent. They don't need a scheme overhaul. They need mental fortitude. They need consistent effort. They need to understand that in the NBA, you're either getting better or getting worse. There's no standing still. This weekend's explosion could be the catalyst that saves Chicago's season. Or it could be another forgotten moment in a forgettable year. The choice ultimately belongs to the players who step on that court every night. Will they prove Vucevic and Donovan right by changing? Or will they prove them right by staying exactly the same? The next 10 games will tell us everything we need to know about this Bulls team's character. Are you watching closely enough to see whether they're truly ready to stop being weak? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and if you think this call-out will actually change Chicago's trajectory, smash that like button. This is the kind of organizational honesty that either transforms teams or exposes them completely. And we'll be here covering every development as it unfolds.